Alright. Journal Ludwig Ludwig, Part 1. 3rd of Evening Star, 4th Air 16. Today, we laid my father to rest in the mausoleum. It's a strange feeling, knowing that his shell just lies there, alone, and that at any time I could go look upon it, as if he were still here. Instead, I shall honor his wish and begin the keeping of this journal. It's past time I did. He certainly prodded me into it for long enough. Should this first entry be a commemoration of Father's life? I lack the words to adequately describe him, I think. His achievements are familiar to most. Everyone knows the Ludwig Trading Company. There's little I could add, and less that would be of interest, I'm sure, coming from me. I can say, however, that he shall be missed. We commend thee, and lay thee to rest, Maximilian Ludwig. Father. 10th of Morning Star, 4th Air 17. It occurs to me that for this journal to be of use to anyone, I should explain who I am. My name is Ludwig Ludwig. Now the Lord of Ludwig Castle, I suppose. Lord of a trade route to nowhere. It barely entered my thoughts as a child, as I have no memory of living anywhere else, but our castle is truly remote. It was Father's grand project, a new trade route between Skyrim and Morrowind, administered by the Ludwig Trading Company alone. Fool's project is what they called it. How could it replace the Sea of Ghost route, they would ask. What of the phenomenal expense in tunneling under the mountain, said others. But Father's plan was more simple. Why forge a new path when one can reclaim an old one? Soul Vault's crossing was too dangerous, and too far south in any case. The mysterious tunnels that Father set his mind and considerable fortune to, and he never did reveal how he knew of them, were not too far from the port in Windhelm. He knew no name for these tunnels, and since they went beneath the Velothi Mountains, he and all the workers came to simply call them the Velothi Tunnels. Clearing the way was dangerous, but the work involved was relatively slight. These tunnels emerged in a small valley high in the mountains, before plunging beneath the rocks again, down to Morrowind. Ludwig Castle was built in this valley, a gatehouse in the center of the would-be trade route. And that is how I grew up, observing the construction of our castle, watching and pestering the builders, stonecutters, carpenters, and smiths. Tools and machines fascinated me. Hammers and saws, pulleys and levers. I relished seeing the walls go up, the rooms take shape. Father was more keen on the furnishings. They had to match the latest fashions of faraway High Rock. That was home to him, and to Mother. I was too young to remember it well, but they are distinctive. Everything went wrong in the Red Year. Not merely for us, of course. It was the death of so very many. But that was when the tunnel down to Morrowind fell in, killing the workers inside. It was the end of Father's grand project. Even if our route had survived, the people of Morrowind did not. There was no one left to trade with. Mother died not long after, along with my sister who would have been. So much went wrong. The castle was nearly complete by then, and though, again, people called him mad, Father elected to have it finished. Certainly some things were called off and cut short. I think the armory was originally intended to be another grand entrance hall, leading on to quarters for prestigious guests, a ballroom, and such. But still, it became Ludwig Castle, our home. My aunts and uncles always said that Father never recovered from those days. Why else would he choose to stay in the place that had come to represent his very dear failure? Father may have founded it, but they took on the running of Ludwig company from then on. My siblings mean to take up the business also, or so they informed me during their brief visit to our father. They may have been anxious to leave the castle once they were old enough. They couldn't stand the isolation, but I, of course, remained, here with father and the staff. I remember I was sorely disappointed when the last of the construction came to a close. Some of the carpenters and smiths had treated me almost as an apprentice, but then they had to leave, and there was nothing more to do. Father had noticed my interest in intricate mechanics, though, and diverted them into a trade in intricate jewelries. It is not exactly what I wanted, but suits me well enough, and I can labor at home in the castle. It is also very profitable. And there you have it, I suppose. Lord Ludwig Ludwig, the jeweler. Alright. Journal of Ludwig Ludwig, Part 2. Both the Last Seed, 4th Era 17. Now that father is gone, they pester me to expand the mausoleum in readiness for my eventual passing. Next in line to die. Fine. I shall order the excavation. Fourth Arraigns Hand, 4th Era 18. It is like turning over a rock and finding the twisting tunnels of an ant nest exposed to the sky. And yet here, the inhabitants did not scatter or erupt in a panic. They merely stood and stared, with those red pinpricks for eyes. 7th Arraigns Hand, 4th Era 18. I should explain. In expanding the mausoleum, the workers broke through into some ancient catacombs of the Dwemer. They were beneath our feet, beneath the castle, all this time. Perhaps it shouldn't be too surprising. The velocity tunnels are home to some Dwemer ruins also. It is all so strange, though. Where do I begin? I've read about Dwemer animunculi, all I could lay my hands on, as those were some of my favorites. But I've never seen any mention of what we found here. The workers called me down when they were about to breach the wall, and there we all stood, clustered around the hole. On the other side was our mirror image, a congregation of metal men staring back at us with their glowing red eyes. I was afraid. We all were, but while the workers all fled the mausoleum, I remained, frozen in place. Expecting your imminent death is a significant shock, but an even greater surprise awaited me. A metal woman came forward and spoke. She spoke to me. At first her words were unrecognizable. Was it the Dwemer language? Then she spoke in Cyrodiilic that was slow and halting. No harm, she said. I could manage no response. No harm, she said again, but this time to the metal men and women behind her. Now she stands here in the study with me, reading the books. I think she asked for them. I brought her here on the day of the breach, but I've forgotten what we spoke of. I said a lot in my panic, and she said very little. It all happened so quickly. Her brethren have all remained behind, down below, but she has not left the study. She's looking at me. 12th Arraigns Hand, 4th Era 18. Her name is Lamashtu. Her progress in learning Cyrodiilic is astonishing. She reads my books and listens to the conversation of the staff, and already I can converse with her easily. The servants are not glad to have this audience, though. That much is clear. They are plainly afraid of what we have uncovered, but it is just as plain to me that these metal men mean us, no harm, as Lamashtu said. Lamashtu has promised to show me Enderal, for that is the name of the Dwemer catacombs beneath us. Actually, she has said that she will have her, I suppose, brother, Lahar, show it to me. I think she wants to stay in the study. She says that she and her metal brethren are called the Gilded. but I am as of yet unsure what they are exactly. Apparently, they have always been beneath our feet and have never ventured out. They do resemble animunculi. That is all I can say. I realize more and more each day that the discovery of the Gilded is a monumental one, but the master has requested, privacy. I'm not sure of her reasons, but I can certainly think of my own. Drummer animunculi are known to be generally hostile, and quite dangerous. I dread the thought of what might happen if some kind of military attention fell on them. The staff may spread tales. How can I stop them? But I've heard how they speak of this discovery. I doubt anyone will believe the particulars of their tales. They'll be thought of as just that, tales. First is Second Seed, 4th Era 18. The resources to be found in Enderal are beyond my ability to count or really value. In particular, that wonderful metal. That famous Dwemer metal that confounds all who try to unlock the secrets of its fabrication. I did put the question to Lamastu, but I am no smith or alchemist, is all she would say. She has answered many of my questions about the truly amazing machines down there, though. I can barely sleep. Feels like my mind is on fire with possibilities. The Har has taken to his new job well, too. After showing me some of Enderal, he followed me back up to the castle. I didn't mind. Even to begin with, he was almost as well-spoken as Lamastu. I think she must have been teaching him. Or perhaps he already knew. Much like Lamastu said, the Har began to... much like Lamastu had, the Har began to follow the staff and observe their work, to their visible chagrin. Before long, he expressed an interest in taking up the role of a caretaker of the castle. Already, he is invaluable. He is careful, quick, and most remarkably, does not appear to need or want for sleep. 22nd to 2nd Seed, 4th Era 18. My studies of Enderal's machines consume my attention, as do my plans regarding what I learned from them. I look to Lamastu as a representative of that domain and of her kind. Besides the Har, who is agreeable, if simple, she is the only one able, or perhaps willing, to speak with me. The others merely stare as I pass and ignore my attempts at conversation. I asked her permission to salvage what scraps of metal could be found lying broken and useless in the halls of Enderal for use in my own works. However impassive her manner, she did agree. This is tremendously exciting. The metal can be melted down and reshaped as I desire, and there is so much of it to be had. I go to work. 25th of Mid-Year, 4th Era 18. The mausoleum has become a thoroughfare. Metal, warped scraps and whole pieces both, is carted out of Enderal and into the workroom by small groups of Gilded. There, the casting molds await. Things are taking shape. Master Bedroom. Journal of Ludwig, Part 3. First the Sun's Hat, 4th Era 18. The staff are all leaving. This has been building for some time. It's their fear of the Gilded. More and more of their number are effectively taking up residence in the castle, as they help with my work. As with the Mastu and the Har, they also took to observing the staff in their daily tasks. Never speaking, just watching. I think it all became too much. Perhaps it's for the best. I'm told that the company is not doing well. Less money is coming in. In truth, it is a relief. I never know what to say to them anyway. Even to Annalise. She was always kind to me. She actually asked me to leave as well. That's not something I could do, though. Especially not now. I could have sworn that she looked, disappointed. It'd be nice to think of why that might be. But that can't be it. Must be my imagination. Still, it is said that I will likely not see her again. In any case, the master was quick to point out that the staff are not even truly required any longer, not with her brethren being here and able to take up the work. Today I offered to pay them all a wage for this work, but the master declined, saying that all they needed was something to occupy them. The Harek echoed this sentiment. I suppose I will have to take them at their word. None of their brethren will speak to me after all. Third a heart fire, 4th era 20. Behold the common tapper spigot. The pipes of cast metal to ferry the water, the appropriated drummer pump, and the steam to make it go. Steam! Steam under pressure, it makes it all go. Now I have water at the turn of a tap, heated water even. That drummer boiler was perfect for the task. Second of first seed, or 23rd of first seed. 4th era 21. Today I have heard that Ludwig Trading Company is no more. By account it was in a slow decline since the Red Deer and Mother's death, but now it has finally happened. We all have our share of the remaining wealth, and it is not insubstantial. I do not have to worry for myself or my remaining family. Indeed, I have continued my jewelry business all this time, even overseeing some of the gilded and creating additional pieces. Some things need to be arranged, but overall, this is nothing to fret over. Things here won't change. It's the Rain's Hand, 4th era 21. I can't abide first-time meetings. Can anyone? No one knows what to say to one another. Who are you? They would say. What is it that you do? By which, of course, they mean, please describe your quantifiable worth to society in a short sentence. 6th of Frostfall, 4th era 21. Father's beautiful glass garden perched atop the castle never did function as he wanted. It never holds the warmth the plants needed. It all leached out into the frigid mountain air, and the plants froze and died. Now that I can tap into that seemingly endless supply of pressurized steam produced by some unknown means deep in Enderal, the glass garden is finally as warm and vaporous as I could ever want. 14's the Sun's Dawn, 4th era 23. Amazing discovery today, though I would not have known it if not for Lamashtu. In excavating a new room for the cellar, the workers struck what appears to, by its curve, to be a great metal sphere. Drummer metal, like everything down there, but unlike any other items of drummer manufacture I have yet seen. Amashta came to look at it, and it seems that she recognizes it. After some thought, she said that it had been called a machine for far walking without steps. A rough translation, I think. I am simply calling it the travel machine for now, as that is apparently what it is for, teleporting one to a far-off location and back again. She speaks of it as if of a barely remembered thing from one's childhood. But Lamashta still tells me that the machine is like a crossroads, with paths striking out in many directions from it. At the end of each road is a terminus machine, and this is where one would appear upon entering the travel machine here. Similarly, entering the terminus machine would bring one back here. I have asked for the workers to uncover the sphere in its entirety. This is very exciting. 30th of Heartfire, 4th era 23. The travel machine is to be my own grand project. Quite early on, we found a kind of panel on its surface that could be removed. Behind it were etched a series of pictographs that Lamashtu aided me in deciphering. We have concluded that they gave instruction in the assembly and operation of the machine. The work required is lengthy and arduous. It would be impossible were the gilded not here to help me. A large chamber to house it must be dug out and supported with stonework. The machine itself has been buried in the dirt for who knows how long. Excavation continues, but it is painstaking. After that, it must be raised up, righted, and supported in place. It must be cleaned thoroughly, inside and out. Broken pieces must be recast and replaced. It is to require an extraordinary amount of piping. There is a lot going unused down in Enderal, but will it be enough? I expect this to take years, but it is the power of teleportation, and not just in the hands of powerful mages. It is hard to imagine what a boon it would have been to the Clockwork Company, had it not closed its doors. 22nd to 2nd Seed, 4th Era 24. Work on the travel machine continues. In the meantime, I have been inspired by the idea of the travel machine to create my own structure that facilitates fast transportation of items across the castle. It relies on the principles of pneumatic pressure to propel items through pipes that have been laid beneath the floors and behind the walls. My first practical test was a pipe that ran between a terminal in the kitchen and one in my bedroom. It worked much as I expected, though the first attempts were, messy. Note to self, don't send soup through the terminals. I shall expand this structure of pipes throughout the castle. It'll be more disruptive than the gas lights were, as the pipes are much larger, but worth it in the end, I feel. A funny thing, also, I've heard that rather than Clockwork Castle, people have come to call my home Clockwork Castle, for all the machinery here. It's a fitting name, I think. I like it. 11th of Rain's Hand, 4th Era 30. I am frustrated by the interminable work required by the travel machine. So much work and yet so little to occupy my time. I simply lack the strength of the gilded, and for now there is nothing I can help with. To alleviate my boredom, I recently began work on a method for controlling the machine. It is something I've given a lot of thought to. How to inform the machine of where I want to go. I am sculpting what will become a cast metal relief map of Skyrim. Only Skyrim. A master assures me that it could not take one anywhere else. Once cast, I'll affix mechanical buttons to it in the places on the map that the machine can take me. It shall be beautiful. I certainly had the time to make it so. 4th of Frostfall, 4th Era 32. Today, one of the gilded workers struck me as we were working on the travel machine. He had been giving me odd looks all morning, so I had kept an eye on him in turn and saw the blow coming in time to mostly evade him. He still caught me on the arm and knocked me to the floor, raising a nasty bruise. He stood above me, silent all the while, and for a moment I feared for my life. Fortunately, I then heard Lahar rounding the corner and looked to him for help. But now it was Lahar looking at me oddly, sprawled on the floor, as the worker had already turned back to his task, as if nothing was amiss. Still, I had to tell Lahar what had happened. I hardly feel safe around the gilded these days. Did a soft something to the worker that I didn't catch, and my assailant left for Enderal without a word, later to be replaced by a different gilded. I am thankful that the machine is nearly finished. 20th of Sun's Dusk, 4th Era 33. It is like tuning a musical instrument. Fine adjustments until the right tone is struck and the travel machine stirs to life, a bright blue portal shining in its heart. This is how we find where the thing can take us, which terminus machines out there yet function. I was reluctant to go through the shimmering portal. How could we truly know where it led, or even if one would have arrived with both life and limbs intact? What if an unfriendly person awaited on the other side? The horror didn't seem to share my concerns, however, and strolled through the portal before I knew what he intended. He was gone so long that I thought him lost, and when he returned, he was caked in dirt as if he had dug his way out of a grave. I saw the banners of Whiterun, he said to me. The caravan brings us meat from there. I marked down the tuning, and we moved to the next. The har went fearlessly into the portal again and again, though now I made him cover his metal body with what clothes would fit. It would be a strange sight indeed to anyone that might see him, otherwise. 9th of Evening Star, 4th Era 33. Today I took my first steps outside Clockwork Castle in over a decade. How is it that so much time has passed? It was well outside the castle too. The travel machine works. I stood outside the Markarth Clockwork terminus for several minutes, watching the crowds across the river entering and leaving the city. So many people. And that was enough for me. I returned to make this entry. There were long years in which I thought this day would never come, but now it is here. The machine works. Now there's no more need for the caravans to make the trip through the Velothi tunnels, delivering my supplies. The Har has said that he'll do it instead, using the travel machine. 18th of Mid-Year, 4th Era 35. This morning I awoke to find that all the Gilded, except in Lamashtu and Lahar, had left during the night. The Har says they have all returned to Enderal. To be honest, I am relieved. I was beginning to feel like a prisoner in my own home. I dare not enter a room if one of the workers was in there doing their chores. I don't know how to properly describe it, but for some time now they have exuded such a sense of menace that I feel in danger around them. Fortunately, Clockwork Castle has earned its name. With all the work I have done here, all the labor-saving machines, the workers are no longer needed. The Har is more than enough. After all, there is no great entourage here to feed and clothe. No mothers, fathers, children, and dogs. There is just me. Only me. In here. Aha! All those poor books. Dusty in here. Yep, something smells dead. Colonel Ludwig, Part 4. This is Sunshine for Sarah 37. An awful realization has been in my thoughts lately. Rather than a realization, a question. If I were to die, say of some accident in the workroom, how long would it be until I was found? The answer, I think, is that the longer I stay here, out of the world, the more any knowledge or memories of me will fade from those out there, and the longer it will be until I was found, tending towards infinity. It's almost mathematical. 13th of Evening Star, 4th Era 44. It occurs to me that I am so accustomed to the useful machines in Clockwork Castle that I can scarcely imagine life without them, and yet, do devices like these exist anywhere else? They could improve the lives of others too, but would anyone accept them? What real use would these contraptions be, they would ask, or how could we possibly afford to build such extravagances? And yet I spend all my days in the workroom, crafting machines and objects of utility and beauty. Perhaps one day, when I've done enough, when I'm finished, I can show it all to someone. 10th of Frostfall, 4th Era 53. I can't remember the last time I actually spoke aloud. Once there is so much to say, so much to learn from Lamashtu, and so much to organize with Lahar. Now though everything is settled, every moment runs into the next with the precision and predictability of a perfect machine. Every day is exactly the same. There is nothing more to say. When was the last time I spoke to someone from outside the castle? Someone not made of metal. It must have been around when the travel machine was completed. Has it really been so long? I don't know that I could raise my voice anymore. Not even to save my life. I don't want it to be heard. 29's the first seed. 5th era, 4th era 54. They're warm to the touch, aren't they? Am I not warm? The master, the har, the lady in the walls, oh crap. They're all so cold. Lady in the walls. 200 septims, if it isn't that, it's that ghost that's been following me. First a Heartfire, 4th era 60. Clocks driven by soul gems, marking time for an eternity. Are they aware? What do they see with no eyes? What do they feel with no skin? 7's a mid-year, 4th era 68. Does the mind require other minds to inform its thoughts? Do they otherwise reflect back uselessly and endlessly unchanged? An echo chamber. But I say nothing. Could I still speak? I dare not speak. 7's the sun's dusk, 4th era 83. I do nothing but sit here in this chamber, the cobwebs growing about me, and the dust staining my skin. I couldn't bear their eyes upon me, and the weight of the judgment behind those eyes would be too much as well. I think I shall simply stay here instead. There's a feeling rising in me that my time here is growing short. It is obvious to me that I should note down my last will, but then there's no one to give it all to. I have nothing to offer in any case. Who'd want what I have? I don't want to reflect on my life. It is no good, really. It's no good. Surely enough. Really, though. It was better than nothing. That's the last of it.